What's up, y'all? Alright, man, so let's talk about a water change. That's what I'm doing right now. Sorry it's so dark. I have everything turned off. I didn't want to leave the LED on for this. I'm going to show you all these different tanks that I do, why I do them, and how I do them. Right now I'm just draining water out of this one. This is my guppy breeder. A lot of you have seen this in different videos. So I'm doing the water change in this. This one right here is going to go down to about 50%. And then we're going to move up to that one and that one. This is all one system. It's all the same body of water. So I can't just do the bottom, which is 30 gallons, and then leave the 50 gallons sitting up there on top. So we're going to do all these tanks at one time. Plus I'm going to show you my 20 long and my 55 as well as my 10 gallon. I do shut off everything for this one right here. Actually I shut off everything for all of them, to be honest with you, except for the 20 gallon. I leave everything on that one because the plug is not quite accessible. So might be a little easier to show you how we're scooping all this stuff out of here using this Python. I don't typically run the adapter that goes to it, which is that one right there, when I do my water changes. But anyway, we're going to run through all these tanks and show you how to do these. 20 gallon will probably be the most informative, and it will be the last one that I'm doing, just because that's the way I do them in what order. So we'll run through these here in a few minutes. Actually, within the next few minutes. It'll be continual for me. It'll take about an hour and a half, 2 hours for me. So alright guys, we're gonna keep this video rolling, let you know how we're doing these water changes, especially when we get to the lights on. It's gonna help you out, and we'll show you how we fill these up, what dechlor we use, why we use the dechlor, obviously all the important stuff, things you need to know if you're doing water changes on your tank. Alright, so you can see in this tank here, this one's been dropped about 50%. You see the pipe there, that's the water level typically, versus where the substrate is there. Sorry this is so dark, guys. Again, I do turn everything off. I can't run pumps while I have no water in the tank. I'm working on the other tank over there right now. This is really brackish water that I have in here, my guppy breeder, and that's due to the driftwood that I have in here. It's the nature of the beast. So we're going to continue on. We're still working on the guppy breeder. Right now we are about, I don't know, 15 minutes into our water changes, and let's talk about why they call this a water change. We're actually using this tip as a vacuum. I can't really see, so I'm going to show you on the 20 gallon when we get to it. We'll get to why we call it that here in a few minutes. So right now we're still working on the, as you saw that big leaf get sucked out of the tank. We're still working on the guppy breeder, and like I said, we're about 15 minutes in. We do change out about, I don't know, about 150 gallons of water between all the tanks in the house. So for right now, this is where we're at. We're still moving on. Alright, so let's talk about this now. You can see I have a lot of fry in this tank. I don't want to suck up any fry. My guppy breeder, obviously I have a ton of fry, so that's why I really couldn't video or keep lights on for you. That's a lot of work. Alright, so I'm about to hit the switch right here. As I hit the switch, you can see that we're pulling crap out of this tank. When I say crap, I mean that literally. It's fish food and fish crap. So you can see my water really isn't that dirty. I do water changes weekly, bi-weekly in these tanks. And this tank right here I do 2 to 3 times a week. The reason that I do it 2 to 3 times a week is because I don't undo filters, because the plug is buried way back there and I don't want to get into it. So what I do is I run this down just to the bottom of the filter there, make sure that it's still pumping water, I do move these rocks that are on the other side around. This time I'm not going to do it because we're shooting a video for you. But you can see, guys, that's all debris. That's not good for your fish. You don't want this in your tank. You know, it's the same concept as going in and cleaning out, you know, your toilet. You don't want to sit on a dirty toilet. These fish don't want to swim in dirty water. That's real simple. So this also hurts your ammonia. gives you little gas pockets sometimes in your rocks if they're able to seam up. It does happen. It's not real common, but it does happen. If you've got a sand substrate, you know all about this. Those methane pockets are deadly. So you can see what we do. We just kind of stick this into the rocks. Works as a vacuum, vacuuming everything out of here. Just want to get as much as we can. You know, this isn't an exact science. You're never going to get everything out. It's just not going to happen. So you just keep working on it. If you do your water changes bi-weekly, and you're doing 50% water changes in it, that's cool too. It's not going to hurt anything. So right now we're on the 20 gallon. You can see how much water we've dropped. This tank usually takes me about 7 or 8 minutes, I guess, to get down to that pump. We've been at it now for about 2.5 minutes just on this tank. You guys have been with me the whole time. So far we've dropped maybe, I don't know, 5 gallons out of here. And we're going to continue to drop it until we hit the line of the filter that I've marked back there. So we'll move on to the 10 gallon and the 55 gallon here shortly. He's mad at me. He's like, put me back, dude. Put me back. Put me back in. There he goes. Alright guys, so I got my tanks about where I want them. You can see the water level. It's pretty low there. Now that I've got my water where I want it, I've got what I drained out, what I want to clean. On this tank, this is my 55. I do this half one side of the week, and then I do that half on another side of the week. So on these bigger tanks, it's you know, a little easier to do, I guess you could say. Now this tank here is about 50% water change, so it's done, right? Okay, so I'm done with my water changes. I want to take the end. Got a rock stuck in there. I want to take the end of my python, my vacuum. Okay. I want to take it completely out of the water. Leave it out of the water. Don't put it back in the water. Okay, I usually just pin it down with the lid. Okay, and then I take my hose and I lift it. And there's a very good reason why. Okay, I just took all this stuff out of the fish tank. Okay, so now that I've taken this out of the fish tank, I don't want to put it back in the fish tank. That's just kind of defeats the purpose. So I'm actually going to drain this whole hose. I'm going to lift it from one end like this, and then just slowly run it until I get all the water out of this hose, and it's running out my front door outside over there into a flower bed. Okay, so I drain my hose all the way out, and I just told you why. You still have all your fish poop, you still have all your old fish food, you still have all that crap in here, so you don't want that back in your tank. So do the work. Okay, don't be lazy. Just be like, you know, it's just a little bit. Now, this is a 75-foot hose. It's not just a little bit. This is a lot. Okay, even in a 50-foot hose or a 25-foot hose, guys, that's a lot of fish poop. That's a lot of old fish food that you don't want to put back in your tank. Kind of defeats the purpose of doing your water change. So, at any rate, this is hard to do with one hand. So I'm going to get moving along, and I'll be back with you as soon as we start dechloring water. Oh, by the way, the crayfish is fine. Alright guys, let's talk about dechlor. What is this? It's tetraoxide. You don't have to use this one. API makes some. Gosh man, there are so many different companies that make this stuff. Reason I have this one, you can see the Tetra food. I feel like such a failure. Walmart products. Anyway, Tetra water safe. Guys, this is a big jug. What is this thing? This is almost 17 ounces of fluid. Yeah, we should zoom in. There we go. Almost 17 ounces of fluid, 500 milliliters. 5 milliliters of this does 10 gallons, I believe. Yes. Oh, 10 milliliters does 10 gallons. So 1 milliliter per gallon, there's 500 on here. I get through about a bottle of this about every 6 weeks or so. So now remember, I'm only doing 50% of 55 gallons. So that's what I have to use. They have these little things on the cap. You see all those lines, and it tells you what to put, what each line means. So the first line there is a 5 milliliter line. It's for 5 gallons, obviously. The top line is a 10 milliliter line. That's for 10 gallons. And if I'm doing half of 55, what is that, 27.5 gallons that I'm replacing? So I'm going to put 2 scoops. I usually put about 2.5 scoops in here. Sometimes you can do a little bit more if you want to, just to be safe. That's all good. It's no worries. You're not going to hurt anything by adding a little bit more dechlor. So right now we're going to start filling up the 55. And I want to show you this. Look how slow that water is moving. I can actually watch it move through the tube. So I did the whole video and just now starting to get the water to flow into my tank. So I run this water in here really slow. I've got a lot of tropical fish in here. See these guys? I don't want to disturb the water temperature too bad. Obviously, if I just change the water temperature, I'm going to shock them all. They're going to be all like, whoa, man, what'd you do, bro? You're killing me here. And I mean, literally, you're killing your fish. So don't do that. I better get this dechlor in there, guys. We'll continue this video here shortly. When we start filling up the 25, we'll go over some of the important things that you need to know about keeping these water changes going and what kind of schedule you need. All right, guys, we got done with our water change. See how crystal clear this water is? Look at this. As I have something floating. Nice and crystal clear. Happy fish. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, filtration is just as important as your water change. Make sure you don't go and change your filters right after you do your water change or right before. That water can get too clean, you know, quote unquote too clean. So try and change your filters, you know, 2 or 3 days later. Don't do them right after you do your water changes. It's important to keep that healthy bacteria going in your tank. As you can see down here, I ran a marine lens. It's rated for a 55-gallon tank. And then up here on top, I've got a penguin that I run. It's a dual penguin filter. And that one is rated at 75 gallons. But guys, you have to keep in mind, you know, I've got over 40 fish in this tank. Some are big, some are small. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're looking at your filtration on your tanks. It's important. You know, it can be rated at 55 gallons, but you have to ask yourself, 50 get 5 gallons of what? Just water? Am I filtering plants? What am I filtering? In this case, I'm filtering over 40 fish. So filtration is, like I said, just as important as water changes. If you do live plants, less filtration is needed. They'll eat up a lot of that ammonia, turn it into what they need, their fuel, their nitrates and nitrites. So just remember to keep that in mind as you're doing these water changes. I can't stress how important they are, and to keep them on a regular schedule. So as you're doing your water changes, make yourself a schedule. Hey man, every Tuesday night or every Saturday morning, whatever it is, whatever days you're off, get up, get your python out, get your bucket out, get whatever it is that you're going to use. Make sure you're doing your water changes. It's important. Keep pretty fish tanks. Gives them vibrant colors. Look how pretty. Oh my goodness. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe. It's down there, just a little red button. You just go on your mouse and boom, you're in. We'll keep doing our videos, man. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk to you later.